Great. So the first question is a Mega Backdoor Roth question. So specifically for a solo 401k, Mega Backdoor Roth solo 401ks are one of the most popular reasons that clients are setting up accounts with us. With a Mega Backdoor Roth solo 401k, you could get as much as $61,000 or even $67,500 if you're 50 or older into a solo 401k for 2022 on a Roth basis, where you have the potential for tax-free growth. So there are a number of important compliance requirements. That's why it's very important to work with a provider like us that has deep experience with the Mega Backdoor Roth solo 401k. And here we have a question on one of those compliance requirements. So the question presented is, if I contribute voluntary after-tax funds to my solo 401k, will I have to do a 1099-R to convert it to Roth funds? Also, if I wanted to move the after-tax funds into my Roth IRA, will I need to do a 1099-R? So it's important to lay the foundation. Number one, the ability to make those very high Roth contributions, such as I mentioned, $61,000 or even $67,500 if you're 50 or older, into a Roth account, relies on being able to make what's called a voluntary after-tax contribution. So you have to have a plan like ours that allows you to make the voluntary after-tax contributions, because those voluntary after-tax contribution limits are so much higher than the standard Roth solo 401k limits. For example, the Roth solo 401k limit is really the employee contribution limit. So for example, $20,500 for 2022. Number two, you have to have a plan that allows you to transfer the funds to an in-service, either rollover to a Roth IRA or conversion from the voluntary after-tax sub-account into the Roth solo 401k sub-account. So those voluntary after-tax funds could be either moved to the Roth solo 401k sub-account and stay within the plan, or be transferred out to a Roth IRA. In either case, that transfer is going to be a reportable event. In other words, it has to be reported on a Form 1099-R. And as part of our services, we'll prepare that 1099-R for no additional charge. We even have an online form where clients can communicate to us the information that we need to generate that 1099-R 24/7. So the question here is, will I have to, number one, do a 1099-R if I convert the after-tax funds to Roth? Will I also have to do a 1099-R if I move the funds to a Roth IRA? So the answer is yes. A 1099-R will need to be issued regardless of whether the after-tax funds are converted to a Roth solo 401k or a Roth IRA. So that's a great question. Thank you so much for the great question.